squeaky bum time now, getting to the point where it is the penultimate round. Both players having to get this win to make it into day 2, as we've mentioned, as we see both players placing their prizes into the prize cam there. The Luminion on Kim's side is prized, only one Archeops, some of the energies there, of course, and it looks like Kim is going to be kicking things off for our round 8 feature match here. Both players at 502 records.
Here we go, yeah, the winner go home scenario. Here we go. Lugia going first, one of the most terrifying decks in format. But against LostBox, LostBox doesn't really mind. You're not giving up multiple prize cards. Doesn't mind operating from the back foot, as it were. As we see an Ultra Ball kicking off Kim's turn, not getting rid of an Archeops, unfortunately. You'd love to get those Archeops in the discard pile nice and early, just so you won't have to worry about it. But looking at Kim's list, there is some spice for your life there. Let me run you through some spice in Kim's list. So we've already seen that Heat Fire in Kim's prizes. Not something you see every day. Maybe you'll see some of the spice here. Can you see that a little bit there? Where is it? The Raikou right at the end. There is the amazing rare Raikou. Really good for Mirror, and actually really good against LostBox as well if Manaphy doesn't decide to show up, because with that amazing shot attack for free energy, you do 120 to the active and then 120 to the bench. Really good in the Mirror, because if you combine that with a choice bar, you're actually hitting for 300 damage into the active, which is a really good number.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Being able to potentially threaten a lot of damage in the Mirror. In this matchup, obviously, just still doing 120, which is a fantastic number, taking out the majority of Miloslav's Pokemon and attackers there, apart from, of course, the Snorlax that we've seen really come to fruition for a lot of Lost Zone box-type decks. We saw it when Joe Bernard was playing his variant, of course, that thumping Snore being a fantastic attack. And, of course, with 150 HP, being able to actually put itself out of range of any sort of real one-hit KOs. So Miloslav looking to really utilize that as one of its bigger attackers alongside some other aspects. Interesting to see, even from Miloslav's list, he plays the Radiant Greninja over the Radiant Charizard as well. So also has the opportunity to threaten multiple knockouts with Moonlight Shuriken. But as you see there, it's just kind of over to Miloslav as he's kind of beginning to sequence his hand, make sure he gets set up from his side as well. He does have that Battle VIP pass there. I think this is just eyeing up a couple of options from this.
And I've just noticed something. Kim, in order to fit in all this spice, you know, is playing a free from a Lugia, but is not playing a Dunsparce, I believe. So that means that Zayora, with that Fighting Lightning, will be able to KO Lugia VSTAR in combination with a Choice Belt, I believe. So the Fighting Lightning coming in, and really interesting, Kim opting, you know, to get rid of the Dunsparce. So that means the Lugias will have weakness for the rest of this game. And it'll be interesting to see what Miloslav opts to take off this VIP Battle Pass. Does the Manaphy come down? I guess Miloslav doesn't know that Kim plays the Raikou. And, you know, unfortunately, since Raikou is a basic, you can just power it up in one turn and take 2 prize cards at a fast rate.
Yeah, definitely. Miloslav will probably still be looking to just try and set up his board first. Yeah. Is key, kind of already sort of targeting the Greninja and the Comphase to be able to begin just kind of getting those all-important combo cards so that he can start applying pressure of his own. Of course, as a single prize deck, he does have some additional time, although, you know, from the Lugia, you mentioned the Stoutland V already, where it's going to be sort of trying to apply pressure by taking additional prizes as early as possible. We touched on it earlier about the decision for Lugia decks to choose between a Manaphy and a Dunsparce, or sometimes both. So, you know, a lot of players are beginning to cut maybe one or the other sometimes now to kind of fit these additional cards in. That we see things like Birdkeeper, which we didn't get to really see with the Lugias being paralyzed, or other Pokemon being paralyzed in the previous round. But there you go. There's a concealed cards. There's a Lightning Energy giving some information away there by Miloslav from the concealed cards. But again, with these Lost Zone or Lost Box decks, already having a great big old hand to be working with.
Yeah, for sure. So that means for Kim, he probably knows that it's going to be some sort of lightning attacker, which is going to be a little bit worrying, right? Kim wouldn't know what it is. We have seen the Zayora being played a lot on stream, so maybe that's common knowledge now that the Zayora knocking about. Could even be another Raikou, amazing rare Raikou. You know, it's not outside the realm of possibility for LostBox to play that as well. So Kim might be wanting to. Oh, we see this escape rope. That's a bit dangerous, getting that Lugia into that. I'm sure Kim would rather that be chilling on the bench, at least for the foreseeable future. And let's see what Miloslav takes off this capture energy. We'll also get to see Flower selecting here as well.
Yeah, from Kim's side, knowing that there's going to be a lightning attacker from Miloslav's board, he typically wouldn't really be looking to try and put multiple of the Lugias down anyway, so we'll be trying to limit the amount of prizes he's going to be giving up or potentially giving up should the Zero Aurora come down. You know, with Miloslav playing the Mirage Gates version in a similar fashion as the Raiko, the Zero Aurora can just very quickly be benched, very quickly powered up, and then sort of start swinging with that fighting lightning attack that it's got there as well. So here comes the Flower selecting. There's a little counter there by Kim, just so he can follow the action as well. Of course, we have the Lost Zone counters for everyone at home to be following along, just as it's slightly out of shot, which is kind of far more helpful for us and for you guys at home. There's the retreat, just paying the retreat cost for the second Flower selecting. Miloslav opting to just tilt them to the left just to kind of for his own gameplay and making sure that he's already used the Greninja Concealed Cards, already used Primate Wisdom from the Oranguru, and used the other Flower selectings as well. So some key decisions here. There's a quick ball, discarding another quick ball. Really towards just look to build out his board at the moment. There's the other third Comfey. He's going to end up going above the 4 threshold already. One Cramorant is currently prized, but maybe he's just going to be looking to try and apply some pressure here as soon as possible as well.
Yeah, and I'll be really intrigued to see, you know, Kim's prize mapping now, because you don't really want to be using this Lugia. You want to keep it out of harm's way. So maybe we see something like 2 prizes with Raikau, 2 prizes with Stoutland, and maybe 2 prizes with Archeops as well. Actually, utilising Archeops last to attack with. But here we see Scoop Up Net being used. This is pretty much a dream turn for LostBox, where, you know, getting a lot of cards into the Lost Zone, you know, getting ready, you know, trying to fuel those Mirage Gates, and things are looking good from Miloslav's side of the board for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's like he had a little shake of the head, but maybe some awkward decision making in terms of maybe he can't really apply as much pressure as he would like. He just needs to try and get attack. It's just a pass over to Kim, so he hasn't been able to get the Cramorant attack off, and it's passed over theirs. I believe the Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards there to try and look for. It looks like the Archeops he's brought to the front of his deck. Already has 1 in the discard, so just then needs the Lugia VSTAR to use that wonderful ability, Summoning Star, to get those 2 Archeops into play, so he can begin to apply some pressure of his own.
Yeah, and I've been intrigued to say, I don't think he's got 1 Archeops in the discard pile already. Yeah.
1 in there, so it looks like he might have just grabbed another one from that Ultra Ball. There it is in his hand.
And there's the research. Yeah, so if hopefully we see a Lugia V-Star here for Kim, so we can get those Archeops into play. And I wonder what attack he'll choose to do, because it's going to be quite hard for him to actually get this Lugia out of the active. Maybe he just chooses to attack with it here. So I don't think we'll see Amazing Rare Raikau at least this turn, because he's obviously played the research, which means Bird Keeper, which he does play, is no longer a switching out.
No, I guess with Lugia, knowing it's already going to be getting maximum value by getting both the Archeops into play, with there's the V-Star ability going straight, being spun and then being straight onto the bench for the Archeops. Because he's already used the Lugia, yes, he probably is very likely to kind of lose it at some stage in this kind of matchup, in this kind of prize mapping that you begin to think about from Miloslav's perspective. Is holding a Stoutland as well, just thinking about how he could maybe retreat into it. But he's just going to have to kind of focus right now, maybe using the Lugia just to take a prize, maybe take 2, and just see if he can carry him into those positions. If he can take a prize here, if it doesn't get a knockout, there's an opportunity to then maybe pay the retreat cost and bring up the Stoutland and maybe take 2 prizes on the following turn. So again, with so much utility, with so much different energy types, different attackers, so many different routes for Kim to kind of go down.
Yeah, and I think so far Kim hasn't revealed anything that would allude to the fact that he's playing the Amazing Rare Raikau. So hopefully, I guess for Kim's side, you know, Miloslav doesn't put down the mana fee, and like you said, then if this Lugia can take 2 prizes, then that means it's done its job right. Then your prize mapping can be, you know, Lugia for 2 prizes, Raikau for 2 prizes, and then Stoutland for 2 prizes. I don't think that's a completely outrageous prize mapping for Kim to expect here.
Yeah, it does choose to bench the Stoutland as well, just gets the DTE onto the Lugia. Maybe he is looking to pay that retreat cost now and sort of Yeah, it does look like he's going for the earlier
Okay.
play here. So does use the Primal Turbo for the DTE to the Lugia to use it as a retreat. Gets the 2 powerful energies onto the Stoutland V, of course, allowing it to bump it up to 80 damage with the double dip fangs, I believe, allowing him to then just take out this active Comfey, knocking out and take an additional prize card because of it being a basic, and then really putting himself in a strong position going forward, because then that Lugia can just stay sat on the bench. Stoutland's a little bit harder to deal with.
Yeah, I quite like this play actually. So the double dip fan's taking 2 prize cards there, and it's really forcing Miloslav to get the Snorlax plus Choice Belt combo to deal with this Stoutland. Because if this Stoutland gets to swing again with double dip fangs, this game can get out of Miloslav's hands real fast. So really turning up the dial there. I'm intrigued to see how Miloslav responds.
Yeah, so he's going to need multiple...
Choice Belts are in hand actually.
There's
so
a Choice Belt. I do see something yellow in there as well, so that Zeraora is just kind of chilling. Is a very unique card because it also has that free retreat opportunity as well, but Miloslav does need to get into the 7 cards into the Lost Zone so that he can begin using Mirage Gate to power up those Snorlaxes, and that's going to be kind of key to try and return KOing on this Stoutland V, because then you're still just chasing 2 prizes for 2 prizes at that point, and then you can kind of still continue your single prizes and just maybe eventually target down that Lugia with either the boss, for example, that Miloslav plays. It's typically a one-off because you just want to be knocking out what's in front of you.
Are those 2 Mirage Gates in that? Oh, we see the Luminion potentially coming down.
Yep.
So I wonder if we're going to try and see... We're going to try and see a boss into the Lugia then? What was that?
Looked like
could be
Raihan
actually as well.
I think there's a few options.
What
I think that might have been.
Is that?
Yeah,
it's a Colress. A Colress.
Okay. I saw the little blue hue kind of flicker across there. Of course, Miloslav playing the Radiant Greninja version, which means he plays water energies. So he does have Luminium V as an attacker as well.
This is true.
Kind of stop Kim being able to target it down for further 2 prizes. Because that's really not what Miloslav's going to want to give up. So here comes a Chorus Experiment. 1 easy target there already, and looks like he's also lost on the mana fee, which is big. You know, with Kim not already showing anything with the Raikou, that could be big.
Yeah, so for sure. So I guess for Kim now seeing that the mana fee has gone, that means the Raikou should be good for 2 prize cards, right? There's always going to be something in KO, Oranguru plus Greninja if it's inactive because of weakness, or it could be Comfey plus Oranguru or Comfey, any sort of combination. Is Luminion weak to a lot?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, so we could even see a potential boss into the Luminion, take 2 prizes, and a KO a bench Pokemon for a 3 prize turn. Against the deck LostBox, which likes to give up 1 prize a turn, that's not going to be great for Miloslav. So I guess the first I have to think about, though, is this Stoutland going to survive? Because if this Stoutland survives, then I think the game's pretty much over at that point anyway, because Raikou can just finish out. So I'm intrigued to see what's going on.
Again, so many options from Miloslav's hand right now because there's so many cards in there. Lost Zone's up to 9 already. He does need to look at maybe taking this KO where possible. And Kim's just going to be thinking, there's a lot of targets here for me. There's the capture energy onto the Greninja.
So this capture can find the Snorlax, I believe, and there is the Snorlax, Choice Belts in hand already. So
yeah, there it
is. There's the Snorlax, and this is an interesting game. We're going backwards and forwards. What a chess match this is going to be, and worth noting, if that Snorlax does hit the active and take the KO, the Raikou can't actually KO that. One of the only Pokemons that Pokemon that Miloslav plays that Kim can't KO with the amazing shot. So things to think about.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why we mentioned it at the start as a big, bulky attacker, dealing lots and lots of damage. Of course, in this engine where it's got multiple different avenues to switch out of position, because obviously it puts itself to sleep, does need double heads to try and get out of it. As we just see the Mirage Gate come down with a Lightning and a Water Energy going on to the Snorlax now as well. As we mentioned, has Choice Belt in hand already, has 2, in fact, I believe I saw. So we'll be doing 210 damage to return KO in this Stoutland pretty quickly. And there's the Air Balloon as well, giving himself a free pivot option going forward. Should it stay attached as a tool to the Comfey. Just needs the energy attachment and the tool.
Still needs one more Mirage Gate though, right? Because
does need a Mirage Gate
attached
still.
capture to the active, I mean to the Greninja, so...
Correct.
Does he have it? I guess... Is that a Mirage Gate?
Oh, just he is eyeing up an energy in his hand right now. But yeah, he did attach the capture energy to the Greninja to get the Snorlax into play. Does bench the Sableye there as well.
I think there is another Mirage Gate in there, right?
Well, there's the Primate Wisdom, and guess what card he just drew? There's the
Oh,
Mirage
was that
Gate.
off the Primate Wisdom?
I'm almost certain it was.
Wow.
He may have one already in hand as well, but I thought that was a Primate Wisdom into his hand as well. So there you go. There's the third energy onto the Snorlax. Does have the outs to the attach energy to the Sableye as well. There's the Choice Belt. That will be doing 210 damage with that thumping Snore attack. Time to tilt it to the left to go to sleep. And there goes the Stoutland. That's 2 prizes leveling up.
Yeah, and Snorlax there doing its job. Even if it does go to sleep, evening up that prize trade, making Stoutland a lot less of an issue. You know, if you're doing a 2-for-2 trade, it's not really the end of the world. It's actually going to be quite hard for Kim to start swinging with the Amazing Raikou. I had to actually attach an energy to the active from the hand so you can start swinging with the Raikou if he chooses to do so. Here we see Luminion come down and just checking, just checking the energy count, see, what can I attack with here? Is Amazing Raikou still an option? Is Yveltal even still an option? Probably not what you want to use in this scenario, but, it's never too much harm to see how many energy you've got left.
No, definitely not. And with 150 HP, it's just a really annoying Pokemon to take out. So the Archeops technically could do it, but with a couple of powerful energies, or there's an opportunity here to Serena that Luminion that's just sat waiting, looking pretty on Miloslav's side of the board as well.
There's the manual from there. So this is going to be the Raikou. Here we go.
I think Miloslav has just noticed and realized what's about to happen. It's going to be a free prize turn here as we see the first Primal Turbo from the Archeops to the Raikou. Double Aurora going straight to it. And we're just going to see potentially... Oh, we already had an energy attachment from hand, so we're going to see the second Primal Turbo at some stage.
Yeah.
Just to balance it out. That Raikou attack cost is quite demanding. It is grass, lightning, metal, but with Auroras, does play the 1 speed energy as well. We just see there attached from Primal Turbo as well, getting ready for that amazing shot.
And I guess Kim's done really well, being able to hide the fact that he actually played this Raikou. The Raikou hasn't been shown, the speed lightning hasn't been shown, so this would have really caught Miloslav by surprise. And a 3 prize turn, everybody, in a deck that likes to give up 1 prize at a time. This is, catastrophic. Even the collapse stadium here, forcing a real costly discard here. Do you get rid of a Comfey? If you do, the Amazing Shot can take out another consistency Pokemon. Oranguru seems to go. And so if you was Kim here, where would you put this bench damage?
I personally would like to see the Comfey taken out, but he's putting himself in such a commanding position. Yeah, there's the Comfey, because one, it's got the free retreat, and you're just in such a commanding position now with just 1 prize to go. It's really difficult to see Miloslav coming back from here. You don't, like you mentioned a moment ago, you don't ever want to see, as a single prize deck, multiple prizes taken against you. And it's happened twice now.
Yeah.
In 2 turns, 5 prizes have been taken against you. And that's, it's not ideal.
You'd be happy taking 5 prizes in 2 turns against any deck in format, let alone a 1 prize deck.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. So in this position now, Miloslav will be taking potentially 1 prize, or maybe 2 if he's able to find a way to stretch into that Lugia VSTAR. But then what? That amazing shot Raikou is just there with the energy powered up already. Miloslav might start looking at some of the energy counts and seeing how far Kim has had to maybe progress with some of the attacks.
That was just a KO then?
Yeah, it just looks like a thumping Snore. And he's paralyzed, which, like I said, I told Mike this. With Paralyze, it's R in the Paralyze, so you lean it to the right. And with Sleep, because of the L, you lean it to the left. So slightly the wrong way around, but for the viewers at home, it should be sleeping to the left-hand side.
So as long as there's enough energy left for this Lugia, then this should be... Is there enough energy left? 1, 2?
Time to find out. He did have some in hand.
Does
because he got it from the prize. There's the powerful energies for Primal Turbo. And there's one more, and I'm pretty sure there's one in hand that he's taken from his prizes.
See the one from hand.
Yeah.
And there it is, yeah.
That Tempest dive for the final prize for Kim.
Lugia V. Zeraora can take 1-hit KOs on Lugia V-Star, so it could be argued here that this could be the fastest sort of LostBox games we could see. I mean, Miloslav has the options, right, to take prizes at a fast rate. So it will be intriguing to see. Looking at the prizes for Kim, not the greatest. We see that one copy of Luminion V. He does play 2, though. One copy of Lugia VSTAR and one basic copy of Lugia, meaning that Kim has to operate now with a 2-2 line to start, and 2 copies of Mirage Gate prize there for Miloslav, as well as 1 copy of Choice Belt and 1 copy of Chorus. All interesting cards that both players are going to want to use. But here we go. Kim actually led the amazing Rare Raka. I would imagine Kim would like to see that in the hand or in the deck so he can use it exactly when he wants. You don't really want it in the firing line right now.
Yeah, I guess with Miloslav going first, Kim won't be able to get any attack off, especially on the first turn. Because he won't have any Archeops out and ready. I think that's 1 flower selecting and then a pass over to Kim. Does have the Greninja out as well. So right now there's no real threat to get the Manaphy down as soon as possible. Can take his moment. And there's a Mani.
Turn 1 Mani with
so
no cards played. I don't know what was in Kim's hand there, but
not
couldn't
ideal.
have been great, no.
Doesn't play anything like...
Okay, interesting.
No
So we just had some interesting information is that the players have actually chosen to ID, but they're just going to play it out for fun so we can see how this matchup would have went anyway. So let's see what's happening here. So the Mani has seemed to at least give Kim some cards to play. I would be really intrigued to see what was in that opening hand for it to have had no playables. Was it all energy in a Mani or all Archeops in a Mani? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, at this rate, it's a little bit less information that we necessarily need to know. But here we are. He's able to discard 1 Archeops at the very least now. Get that Lugia.
And get the Lugia down.
Began setting up, despite only playing a 3-3, which is a number and line you don't typically see with a lot of Lugia lists. I've seen more people begin to cut the VSTAR a little bit more now. Rather than the actual Lugia itself, because they want to make sure to get Lugias down. In the mirror, you want to make sure you have 2 Lugias down.
Yeah.
Just in case one goes, it gets KO'd, for example. But, I'm not the one playing Lugia V-Star. It's Kim right now. He's 502, potentially about to be 503. And Miloslav is just going through the motions and making sure he's flower selecting with the right sequencing. Still making sure he's doing everything correctly. On stream in the feature match area, does have a capture energy attached to the active convey as well, and does have the straight out for the Cramorant. Does already have 4 into the lost zone, so we'll be able to attack this Raikou for 110 damage.
Yeah, which is a KO. Yeah, Raikou unfortunately only has 110 HP. Had to have a little bit of a balancing factor. So in this game, Raikou doing a whole lot of nothing, unfortunately, and getting sent straight to the discard pile.
Yeah, so it's just going to be, and with very minimal recovery ever found in most Lugia lists, if any at all, that's not coming back. So it's just going to be the other attackers within the Lugia deck itself. So it'll be, again, interesting to see how Kim is able to navigate around this. Miloslav taking the first prize and being able to go ahead and kind of progress the game this way. So straight with the Evo Incense here for another Archeops. Must mean there's another way of kind of discarding it, being able to get them onto the bench itself and really sort of progress through the game, hoping to get that Lugia V-Star, using that special ability or V-Star power that has, that summoning star, being able to get up to 2 colorless Pokemon that don't have a rule box from your discard pile onto your bench. So and right now, Archeops is the perfect partner for it.
Yeah, so we see... wow, that's a lot of energy in that hand, though. Oh, my goodness.
There's the Evo Incense again.
So we do see outs to the Lugia V-Star, so we will see a summoning star for max value, but with all that energy in the hand, you can't Primal Turbo from the hand. It's got to be from the deck, and having energy in the hand can sometimes be the worst place, and that hand is really suspect, actually. I think there's a quick ball, so we could see a quick ball for Luminion into Mani combo to get them all back in the hand, back in the deck at least, but not the greatest of options drawn into. And the scary thing is, if we do just see the summoning star, that means that the Fighting Lightning is vulnerable there for that Lugia. So I've been intrigued to see what this quick ball takes. I imagine, it is the... was that the Luminion? Did he take the Luminion, or did he just show it? I'm not sure.
No, he's just reconfirming some of his options there. So just kind of going through that deck. His discard pile, unfortunately, is a little bit messy, but it's fine. It's how he's able to sort of keep track of exactly what's going on for his own side of the board as well. Yeah, he's just kind of making sure he's going through the motions and make sure he is able to select the right Pokemon in terms of powering up. You know, this Cramorant only needing to deal only needing to deal 110 damage to knock it out. That Luminion dealing 120 with Aqua Return is a fantastic option there as well. We haven't seen the VSTAR used yet, so let's just see how Kim is going to play out the rest of this turn.
Yeah, we see a Bird Keeper added to hand off the Wonder Sign? Luminous Sign ability from Luminion. There we see the Summoning Star getting those Primal Turbo Archeops into play. So we'll be seeing a Tempest dive for KO, I imagine, into this poor Cramorant. Yeah, he did his job. He took some prize, I guess, but now that big, scary Lugia is coming belting down saying, no, 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 not today.
It does look like
we're
he's
going to
prepping
see
the Aqua Return.
Yeah. So
similar to the game 1 where we saw the Lugia retreat into the Stoutland to take 2 early prizes off a Comfey. Here is the Luminion as a great utility attacker, as well as having that fantastic Luminous Sign ability to pick out any supporter that you may want or need from your deck. And just taking the knockout here, sort of leveling up the prize race, and then being able to put forward a single prizer, which is bulky enough as well to have to force Miloslav to use the Snorlax to potentially attack.
Yeah, Charizard has 160 HP, I believe. You know, there is I'm not going to say access to the Heat Fire, but it is actually prized. And Heat Fire, and Charizard does give it extra HP, so that could be something worth thinking about. But over to Miloslav here, open up the turn with the Colress's Experiment, a sort of backbone engine of these Lost Zone decks. So I wonder what he took there. We can't see.
Let's have a look.
What are the 5 cards there? Oh no, that's his hand.
Yeah, that's his whole hand, I think. So it's already moving up to the 6 Lost Zone cards. Got the hand cam there, a little bit of glare, but a few different options available.
A lot of energy in that hand, to be fair.
Yeah, similar to what we saw.
There's a Flower Select. Seems like Ordinary Wood and Cramorant, I believe.
So with the active Charizard in position, like I said, the only attacker that really is able to one-hit KO it is that Snorlax. So this should bring the Lost Zone, I believe it was on 6 just before this Flower Selecting, up to the 7, and there you go, the ticker has just increased, which does mean it activates those Mirage Gates in Miloslav's deck. There are 2 prized, however there's still 2 remaining somewhere within hand or the deck itself, and here we see a Escape Rope into the other Comfey, Flower Selecting one more time.
Oh, and we see the Lugia VSTAR get promoted, so we could see that Fighting Lightning if, I love saying that, Fighting Lightning from that Zaora. We need the choice, but actually to secure the KO. I'm not 100% sure if Miloslav has that in hand. He does play 3, so that is an increased copy. So let's see what happens here.
Yep, definitely. And 1 is prized at the moment as well.
True.
So yeah, will Miloslav be able to pull it off and also find a way to just retreat without another Escape Rope as well? Of course, there's many, many cards that are able to do so. Here's another config coming down from Miloslav's side of the board. As we see both players here just deciding, you know, how he's going to be able to take this.
Oh, the other
Escape Rope.
I think out of all the switching options, that's the one Miloslav wouldn't have liked, because he did have a chance to get a hit on that Lugia, but unfortunately can't get a hit on now as that Charizard comes straight back in the active. And like you said, outside of Snorlax, that Charizard is an absolute wall for LostBox to do with. At least in one turn, we could see some setup with, I don't know, like a Cramorant plus some Sableye action maybe. But for right now, that Charizard is going to be quite hard to move.
Yeah, I think you'd want to try and still take a prize here, because you're putting yourself in a better position against your opponent by taking the prize first. There's the attachment of the Capture Energy, just kind of going through his deck, making sure he's got other options available to him in terms of how he can play this turn out. I don't know. I don't think he's necessarily used concealed cards yet, so that might still be an option to continue drawing through. But yeah, just identifying which Pokemon he may want to use here in this position to potentially knock out this Charizard. There's another Comfey. So all 4 are currently in play.
Not something you see every day, and obviously, you know, you do have the scoop up next to return them in hand, but right now this is the Comfey army, as it were. Flower Selecting, taking 2. Let me see what they are. Having to think.
Yeah, his hand's just not quite
Well, I'm going with
workable.
switch card. Oh, that's a tough decision. We love these. We know these LostBox decks love themselves a little bit of Primate Wisdom, but switch card's going to be helpful considering our 2 escape reps have been used already. Miloslav might not have the greatest amount of switching options left, and I didn't see what he took there. Did
Yeah, it looked like he took the switch card and actually lost zone the Orangaroo, and that's just passed over, giving Kim now the initiative to be able to take and go ahead on prizes if he's able to take a KO here. Again, what's not great in this position with this... Oh, is that the... No, the Stoutland is currently in the deck somewhere, if not in hand somewhere. Not too many ways of actually trying to necessarily find them. But there is the Birdkeeper into the Archeops. There's an opportunity here to use the Archeops to attack. But, of course, there's ways to kind of primal turbo energy onto the board somewhere, use it as a way of retreating, and then decide which best attacker to start swinging with to take the prize race. Because, you know, once your Archeops goes down, you won't be able to use those abilities to keep kind of putting energy on the board. But for the time being, Miloslav didn't really do too much. Has 4 Comphase on the board.
That Ryka would have been really nice right now.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Very much so. And there we see there's the Primal Turbo to the Lugia, the V-Guard Energy, and a DTE.
Wow, that is a very
slammed down.
Bad hand. Look at that, full of energies and Boss's Orders. And while they're all 1-prize Pokemon in play for Miloslav, Boss's Orders probably not the ideal supporter you'll be playing anytime soon. So Birdkeeper wasn't really... Kim doesn't seem to be friends with Birdkeeper, apparently, at least for cards into drawing cards. So...
No, the Archeops is one of the few Pokemon in this deck that maybe only has 1 retreat cost as well.
Yeah.
So that's why the Birdkeeper into it is a little bit easier if you're using Primal Turbo to get an energy attachment and then a retreat, or way of retreating. So you see there's a Primal Turbo to put 2 energies on the active. That means it's still got another pivot option next turn as well, as we see the Lugia VSTAR come up and ready to use Tempest Dive to take the knockout on one of the 4 Miloslav Comphase as it goes over and takes a prize there as well, of course.
And you've got to keep in mind, you know, as Kim keeps taking these prizes, if he ever gets down to 2 prize cards, the Stoutland becomes a big wink on there with that double dip fang. I don't think we've seen too many powerfuls actually being used. I can't see I don't think I can see any in the discard pile actually. I can't see any in play. So Kim probably looking to try and keep those powerful energies to attach to the Stoutland. Over to Miloslav, he does use the flower selecting into a scoop up net, into the next flower selection. This last stone is going to start getting bonkers. All that a capture and a sidekick, I believe. So interesting decision now. I imagine you probably want to keep the sidekick, but then again, capture is going to be really good for actually getting those Pokemon out of deck, such as that Zayora with that Fighting Lightning, or Snorlax even as well. Those are all good targets. I guess actually... yeah, if Miloslav does actually find a Zayora, he could actually get a KO here, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here. We'll need to try and identify and find a way. He does have the choice belts in hand, remember, that I believe we saw. Or maybe not this hand, not this turn, but it's very likely. His hand's massive.
Yeah, that is a
he's very likely to have a lot of the right combo pieces in his hand there. Of course, that Fighting Lightning doing 30 base.
I'm hoping you get to say Fighting Lightning this turn. haven't got to say it yet.
Yeah. That 30 base damage plus 80 if your opponent's Pokemon is a V or a GX. Of course, then with the choice belt is dealing 140 multiplied by 2 for weakness is a perfect 280 damage on a Lugia V-Star.
And that's exactly what Miloslav likes. That's some good maps right there for Miloslav. And, you know, on a basic Pokemon, 3 retreat cards. Here we see a switch card, another flower selecting. Tell you what, that must be a lot. Oh, there's the choice
at least
belt.
one.
There it is. I think he only has 1 as well. Yeah, so mine to see the ordinary one here just to shuffle in some energy, because there's a ton of energy in Miloslav's hand, actually. I'm not over 100% sure if there's enough for him to even Mirage Gate to that Zayora. But as it stands right now, Miloslav might have all the options needed for him to get that Fighting Lightning KO, and that must be good for Miloslav.
Yeah, there we go. We're just going to be seeing some preparation here. There's the ordinary rod just to the top of the deck. Won't bother shuffling it in because he will be using a Mirage Gate immediately to go to the Zeraora and ready to sort of fire off a Fighting Lightning with that choice belt also attached on top of the Pokemon. I'm sure he'll tidy that up shortly as well, just for everyone following. But just here, as we see, you know, obviously has to shuffle the deck because he used Mirage Gate. Kim confirming how much damage is actually doing.
Yep, that's a KO.
Yeah, exactly. There's the attached retreat as well.
And here we go. Let's say it all together at home. Fighting Lightning for KO. Let's go. Can't even see the Zayora. That lightning energy just covering it up. But yeah, so obviously avoiding that V-Guard energy. You know, normally putting Lugia outside of range, but because Zayora is not a V, it avoids the V-Guard. And oh wait, Kim has 2 powerful energies in hand, so Stoutland might not even be easy to find here. I mean, there is no quick ball anyway, but with all those powerfuls in hand, you can't primal turbo them. So was that Serena off the top, I believe?
Yeah, I didn't quite catch that myself, but does promote the Charizard to the active spot and is using the first primal turbo to just have a little look again what the options are available. Of course, still is in a position where he's now behind because Miloslav has taken 2 prizes. Identifies a couple of energies that he's looking to attach to Charizard so that he can begin attacking. Again, that means Miloslav has to return the knockout with something like a Snorlax because there's nothing there in his deck that's really strong enough. Maybe the Greninja, of course, because he is actually hitting for weakness, is an option. And then sort of putting another... sort of
maybe not.
Yeah.
Emerging thought, no, not today.
Not anymore. Now there's the Combustion Blast, the over KO 250. Charizard's unable to attack next turn. But there's the Radiant Greninja being taken out by the Radiant Charizard, 2 of the most popular Radiant Pokemon in the game currently.
Yes, and well, Radiant on Radiant action. Charizard saying, I'm the best Radiant, get to the discard pile. And yeah, I think Radiant Greninja would have been a nice option just to clear the way of this Charizard. And I guess we could see the Snorlax be used here. But I think we could actually start seeing some Sableye action now as well. But then Sableye doesn't actually take a prize this turn, so might not be able to see that. So yeah, Miloslav's an interesting scenario here. That Zayora, you know, as good as it is, isn't really going to be very good against anything else here. I guess you could carry an Archeops. No, you couldn't actually. Couldn't carry the Archeops with weakness. So yeah, I mean, Miloslav's hand is absolutely ginormous. So you have to imagine he should be able to attack or do whatever he wants. And there's not even a lot of cards left in deck, actually. Hold on. Is that 2 cards left in deck?
Yeah, it does feel like he's gone very, very far into his deck at the moment. Is there other ways to kind of shuffle cards back in? He's got maybe another Ordinary Rod to kind of give him more outs, but then using Mirage Gate kind of thins it out even further.
I guess you could argue Roxanne is a shuffle if...
Yeah, then Roxanne's an opportunity as well, which is probably the most likely of all cards to be able to refresh his deck back up again so that he's not just carrying his deck in his hands right now. There's the Ordinary
Rod. Okay, so that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, so just putting 2 Pokemon and 2 energies back into the deck. So just give himself outs there. He's kind of deciding whether he wants to use Mirage Gate, I reckon, because he did pull one off the actual prizes themselves. Chooses to quick ball first. So lots of different options available to him. Of course, maybe potentially to get that Greninja back onto the board, ready to sort of threaten Kim's side of the board yet again. Discards the Choice Belt. Kind of, I agree with that, just simply because he's already knocked out the Lugia, and Kim won't be wanting to put another 2 prizes down and won't really need to stretch that far anymore. So there's the Greninja. It's back alongside another Sableye, yeah. So it's just again recounting what cards he's got left in his deck. Mirage Gates gets the 2 energies back out. Lightning and the Psychic attachments to the Sableye and the Greninja. Probably will look to scoop up here.
I'm going to see the Lost Mine then, I'm assuming at this point.
With Charizard unable to attack, this is like completely a viable opportunity here. And there's typically not any switch outs. You know, he's already seen the Bird Keeper from Kim's side, so it has to be a manual retreat using more energy attachments if required. So that's the only way sort of out of this scenario right now, whilst this Sableye can start racking up damage across both Archeops and threatening that Charizard essentially.
Yeah, I guess we could even see the Moonlight Shuriken from Greninja then, which should take out both the Archeops, I believe, right? Yep. So that could be gnarly, and just leaving that Charizard there in the active. And granted, they can't even attack this turn, so it might even be hard for Kim to even take a prize card this turn, right? Unless you start to swing with an Archeops potentially. So I'll be intrigued. Maybe we even see an Acro return, maybe. But Charizard has a hefty free retreat cost. And you have to imagine resources are low. Like, look at Kim's discard pile there. There can't be a lot of energies in the deck. And I know he's got quite a few in hand even. So I think I've seen one powerful in deck. Is it just one powerful in deck, actually? Maybe this Luminion finds a Marnie then just to put them all back into the deck.
Yeah, it does seem like that's a potential option there. If he's carrying a lot of energies in his hand, just finding either a Marnie or another way to shuffle cards back into the deck per se. And just be able to then use the Primal Turbo to kind of pull out the right energies to accelerate them onto the different attackers that are available to Kim is a fantastic option. And then, of course, with Luminion being able to Aqua Return and hide itself back into the deck. And there's the Marnie. Miloslav was preemptively shuffling his hand and putting it to the bottom of his deck as well, drawing 4 for himself, and then Kim drawing 5 there. As both players kind of see what the effects of this Marnie is on their next turn.
So you see Aurora, a Lugia, and 2 Ultra Balls and a Quick Ball, I believe. So let's see what this Quick Ball targets. Could be the other Luminion actually. Set up an Aqua Return maybe, probably not. Could be, or is this a Primal Turbo search actually? What we're seeing now. Was that the Quick Ball? Oh, I think it's a Quick Ball. Yeah.
Just kind of shuffle. Also, you want to sometimes shuffle some of your cards back here, back around the deck as well. I think it was just making a count of the powerful energies that are available still. Looks like they might be free.
I guess Stoutland is still an out actually. Yeah, just about to say. Yeah, so Stoutland. Ooh, interesting. So we have seen one choice belt committed. And we have just seen the Marnie. So Miloslav might actually struggle to get the response KO on this Stoutland, and Kim can go down to one prize card left here off this double tip fans. Completely forgot about Stoutland actually. We haven't seen it in a while, but here it comes. Kim has been really meticulous with those power fans, making sure they haven't been thrown away so they can come up for this exact reason.
Yeah, he's just using that Stoutland, timing it well to kind of put himself in a position where he's just got one more prize to take. Miloslav will still have 3 prizes to go, and it's just then a little bit awkward because then he's not going to be wanting to take out the Archeops because he's got that Stoutland just facing him up in an active position. There's all these attachments across the Pokemon. There's the free retreat cost, as in the number 3 retreat cost from the Charizard into the Stoutland there, and there's the double dip fangs for 2 prizes. And back over to Miloslav. You know, he has to deal with the Stoutland, but then by doing so, that Charizard's once again available to swing for big damage if there is, of course, one of the heat energies, which I believe there is, if not a Aurora energy available to Kim.
I think the heat energy, the heat energy was prized last game. So yeah, I think the heat or at least one Aurora is available. Yeah, so this is a really interesting scenario for Miloslav. I'm not 100% sure how he effectively gets out of this one, because you're right, you know, if Miloslav priority is to just take out this Stoutland with a Snorlax, then the Charizard just comes in for 1 energy and just takes this last prize card. And looks like we're just counting SWC 1,
it's just
3 Aurora, 4 Aurora in the discard.
Okay, so it's just the heat energy.
Just the heat energy left, and it's not prize. I guess if it's in the hand, that's good enough. You can just manually attach it, and if it's in the deck, Primal Turbo gets it out. So,
it's Kim. It's on Kim here, who's kind of set up this checkmate position almost. Because there's not a way really for Miloslav to take 3 prizes in one turn. It's still identifying with that Greninja. Because of what Stoutland's position, it won't be doing enough damage to knock out the Greninja, right? And if the energy is still in deck, it means there's no easy way for Kim to be able to pull it out, because if he's able to use Moonlight Shuriken on those 2 Archeops, that energy acceleration just won't be there anymore.
Yeah, so I guess we could see a sort of Moonlight Shuriken into both the Archeops, like you said, and saying, right, if you want to attack with that Stoutland, you're going to have to find another energy to then do the other attack. Wild Tackle, I believe it's called. We just double it. Wild Tackle here for 4 for 200. And, was that a boss's orders? I believe it was. Making life a little bit harder, actually. So Kim's not going to be able to attack with that Wild Tackle now because there is no Bird Keeper.
Needs to find a retreat, and an energy to retreat, and also an energy to be able to use Wild Tackle, and it can't do that in one turn with no Archeops in play. So Miloslav really very much finding a route to victory here, or potential route to victory.
Have we seen Bird Keeper yet? We see a boss's orders.
Yeah, we saw a Bird Keeper earlier.
So boss into...
boss
into the Comfey. Boss into the Comfey and then double tip fangs. So what...